A farmer named Sanjay Sathe walked into a post office in Maharashtra. He had just sold 750 kilograms of onions. His earnings, after months of growing, harvesting, and transporting them, came to rupees 1064. He filled out a money order, addressed it to the Prime Minister of India, and in the remarks column, he wrote 7 words. I am donating this to the Disaster Relief Fund. He paid rupees 54 extra to send it, which means after everything, the soil, the seeds, the labor, the months of waiting, Sanjay Sathe kept rupees 1010 from 750 kilograms of onions. Today, you probably have onions in your kitchen. You paid somewhere between rupees 40 and 80 for a kilogram. Sanjay got 1 rupee and 40 because the onion in your kitchen is the most politically explosive object in India. More powerful than any manifesto. More dangerous to a government than any protest. And the story of how it travels from a field in Nashik to your kitchen is one of the most revealing stories about how India actually works. Not the India of speeches and development reports, the India of every kitchen, every morning, every meal. Let's start here. Nashik district, Maharashtra. This single region produces 40% of every onion grown in India. And at its center sits a town called Lasalgaon, home to the largest onion wholesale market in Asia. Every morning, before most of India has woken up, hundreds of farmers arrive at Lasalgaon's auction yard, trailers stacked high. Some have driven through the night, some have borrowed money to pay for the transport. And then they wait for a number. That number, the price the traders offer at auction, is the difference between a year of work that paid off and a year of work that broke them. Most days in the last 2 years, the number has broken them. A farmer named Madhav Pawase from Hewargaon village, 230 kilometers northeast of Mumbai, spent rupees 80,000 growing 15 tons of onion last season. 80,000 rupees, 6 months of work, 15 tons of onions. And at the market, he was offered a price that would recover rupees 3,000. He let some of them rot in the field, not because he wanted to, but because harvesting them, paying labor, paying transport, paying market fees on top of that would cost him more than he would get back. It was just cheaper to leave them in the ground. And this all is happening while you paid 60 rupees per kilogram for the same onion in Mumbai. So the obvious question is, where does the money go? Between Madhav's field and your kitchen, an onion changes hands on average 4 to 5 times. Each hand takes a cut. Here is what that chain actually looks like. The farmer sells to a mandi trader at auction. The mandi trader sells to a regional wholesaler. The wholesaler sells to a mid-level distributor. The distributor sells to the local sabzi vendor or retailer, and then that retailer sells it to you. 5 transactions, 5 margins, 5 sets of transport, storage, and handling costs. Research by the National Council of Applied Economic Research found that middlemen take between 52 and 60% of the final retail price of onions. Of every rupees 60 you spend on onion, roughly rupees 35 never reaches the farmer. And the farmer who spent 6 months growing them gets approximately rupees 3 to rupees 5 per kilogram under normal market conditions. Sometimes less, sometimes nothing at all. In 2018, a farmer named Madhukar drove 60 kilometers to the Pimpalgaon market with 20 quintals of onions. The opening bid was rupees 200 per quintal, and after hours of negotiation, the final price he was offered was rupees 300. The transport cost to get there was rupees 2000. He couldn't take them back. He had no storage. He had no other option. He sold at a loss, and then he drove 60 kilometers home. Now, here is the part of this story that makes it unlike any other vegetable on earth. The onion doesn't just feed India, it governs it. In 1980, Indira Gandhi ran a general election campaign that historians later called the onion elections. Rising onion prices under the Janata Party government had turned ordinary voters furious. Gandhi won by a landslide. She called it herself the onion elections. In 1998, the BJP government in Delhi watched onion prices climb over rupees 9 per kilogram in January to over rupees 50 by October. In December, Delhi voted. The BJP lost. Will not govern Delhi again for 27 years. 27 years because of a vegetable. In 2013, prices hit rupees 100 per kilogram in parts of North India. The government floated emergency tenders to import onions from Pakistan, Egypt, and China. Parliament members walked into sessions wearing garlands made of onion as protest. A satirist arrived at a Delhi market surrounded by security commandos. His logic, he said, was that buying something this precious warranted protection. This is not a vegetable. This is a political instrument. And here is what makes this crisis genuinely impossible to solve. The onion traps every government in the same contradiction every single time. When prices are high, consumers are angry. Urban voters, middle class families, the people who buy onions. When prices are low, farmers are angry. Rural voters, the people who grow onions. More than 55% of India's population is involved in farming or farm-related activities. Farmers are the largest voting bloc in the country, so the government faces a choice. That is, no choice at all. Protect the consumer and destroy the farmer. Protect the farmer and punish the consumer. In December 2023, the government banned onion exports to keep domestic prices low before the general election. Retail prices fell, consumers were relieved. However, farm prices collapsed. Protests erupted across Maharashtra. Farmers dumped onion on highways. In May 2024, with rural constituencies about to vote, the government lifted the ban. Export prices immediately shot up. Farmers cheered, urban prices ticked back up. Within 6 months, the same government had angered both sides at least once. Bharat Digole, president of Maharashtra's Onion Producers Association, said something that has stayed with me since I read it. He said, "We dread elections. The most unwise interventions come around polls." So the obvious question is, why hasn't this been fixed? Even after 75 years of independence? After dozens of onion crises? After governments falling over a vegetable? Why does this system still work exactly the same way? And the answer is cold storage, or more precisely, the absence of it. Onions are perishable. Without cold storage facilities, farmers cannot wait for better prices. They must sell immediately after harvest, which means every farmer in a region harvests at the same time and floods the market simultaneously. Supply spikes, prices collapse, and farmers lose. But then the stored supply runs out. Retail prices spike, consumers lose, and the cycle repeats. India loses about 30 to 40% of its total onion production every year to spoilage, simply because there is not enough cold storage infrastructure to keep them. 30 to 40%. of every onion grown in India spots before it reaches anyone. And this happens while farmers sell at a loss and consumers pay peak prices simultaneously. Now back to Sanjay Sathe, the farmer in Maharashtra who sent rupees 1064 to the Prime Minister. The government's response, after the PMO ordered an investigation, was to conclude that Sanjay received a low price because his onions were substandard. Sanjay continued farming not because it was profitable, but because it was the only thing he knew how to do, the only thing his father knew, the only thing the land beneath his feet had ever asked of him. The onion you cook with tonight will have traveled hundreds of kilometers, changed hands 4 or 5 times, generated margins for traders, distributors, retailers. And somewhere at the start of that chain, a farmer will have received a fraction of what you paid. Maybe enough to cover costs, maybe not. The price of an onion in India has never just been the price of an onion. It is the price of a system that has never decided, not in 75 years, whose kitchen it actually serves.